No, famously, when you get companies who regulate themselves, it doesn't work. The banks couldn't regulate themselves, and neither can social media companies. You want to get the 10 biggest companies on the planet to just regulate themselves. They're like, yeah, trust me, bro. It's not going to work. It's a waste of time.
Ministers are considering implementing an Australian-style social media ban for under-16s. We went into Manchester city centre to see what people thought of it.
I'm for that, yeah.
Oh, you're for it?
Oh, 100%.
Well, that's
Am I supposed to be
amazing.
against it?
Would you support social media bans for under 16s?
Yeah, definitely.
Because even me, I'm 18, and I'll catch myself scrolling for hours, and it's ruining my attention span. So much so that people think everyone's got ADHD.
No, social media should just be reformed. Make it not Can I say They just need to reform social media so it isn't evil. The problem isn't the under-16, the issue is social media itself. It won't work, so there's no point in planning it.
It was better without social media, yeah. There's a lot of pressure on young people now, and there's a lot of comparison and thinking, oh, they're having a great life. And
everything seems perfect, done it on the socials,
yeah.
And it puts the kids under a lot of pressure, I think.
Personally, I actually don't think that under-16s should have phones or anything along those lines, because there's so much danger, like online, and I know it does keep you sort of connected, but they're going to school every day. They have a chance to chat to people, and if they want to meet up after school, they can arrange that. And I see a lot of younger children just like glued their phone already, and it just feels a bit like they're losing intelligence almost.
I think it's probably a good idea. I think it's a good idea, but I think it's difficult to enforce. That's the problem. I mean, like social media companies, they can be held liable, but also they can only like enforce it to a certain extent. Like, I'm not sure, like, age verification, a lot of things like that, like the UK have recently introduced that new age verification for, like, lots of things on the internet, I think. And they've, like, decided, lots of people are finding ways to bypass it because they just don't agree with it. And I think it's underplaying how intelligent children can be, especially children that have access to the internet.
And do you think that what it's become, I mean, you're saying that you don't want it to be banned for under 16s, you don't think it's a good idea. Do you think that the reason for that is because adults, it's just as harmful for adults as it is basically for someone?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, if you look at what TikTok does to everybody's brains, it fries everyone's brains. The idea of, like, pitching a social media ban to protect children, it's not going to work, and it's going to give all of our data to third-party companies that are going to sell us stuff. Ultimately, if you want to fix social media, you have to fix social media, not just cookie. Like, also children know how VPNs work, so they're going to bypass the ban anyway, so it's kind of waste of time.
There's always a way, isn't there? If you want to get around something, there's always going to be, there's only so much you can do.
We've got teenagers, we've got a 14-year-old and a nearly 18-year-old, and it's like horrible stuff that you see, like, was it Charlie Kirk? I'd read a statistic that said something like 75% of young teenagers have seen that. And I asked my daughter, just out of interest, I said, right, she's 14, have you seen that video? And she said, yeah, I have. And I was like, oh, you know, because she's not actively put it in, but it's throwing things up at people, isn't it?
I don't think I got any benefit from being on the internet at 16 and under, so I would agree. I think it's a good idea.
I think it's the dopamine addiction. It's ruining people's brains, if I'm being honest. Especially under 16s, you don't know how to regulate themselves, and who haven't grown fully yet. They can't keep focused on one thing without having one finger scrolling. It's like I read this article, and it was people who make films now, they have to make it so it can be engaging to someone while scrolling on their phone. So you can't have an actual story because it's been blinded by a problem, which is social media. But hey ho, it also has its good parts. I don't have many comments on that.
What would you say the biggest problems for you were growing up with something like that?
A lot of grooming, just on like everything under the planet. Lots of like very negative things. I grew up as an art student, so I spent a lot of time on Pinterest and all the arty softwares to learn how to draw. But anything else like games or anything where you can chat with loads of other people outside my school, yeah, it wasn't great all of the time. I'd say it was more negative than positive for me.
Non-chronological timelines, attention-driven advertising, all the things that make money out of it. If you get rid of that, then you kind of fix social media.
And did you grow up on social media, or did it come about a bit later on?
It came about when I was like, I'm 30, so it came about when I was like, I don't know, proper social media came about when I was like 16. So like early social media, if you just went back to that, it'd be fine. But what it is now is terrible.
So as parents, your perspective especially is interesting, because if something like that came about, how would you help your children to make sure they're not using social media? Would you abide by the law? Because a lot of the times kids are, I guess, smarter than adults and parents in these kinds of technologies.
So we've got our 18-year-old, she's not interested whatsoever, she's not bothered.
The younger one is.
The 14-year-old, because that's her obviously generation, she's really interested in social media, she's on it, she's doing a Snapchat, she's doing, you know, I don't want her on it, but
they're going to go on it, aren't they?
Yeah, so I like to police it and I like to see where there's a will, there's a way. I know they banned it in Australia, and I think that a lot of people are saying that's the best thing that could have happened. But whether all the young people that age are off it on social media, I don't know. In Australia, whether they've been able to police it or not, I don't know.
I don't think it could be enforced, but I think it could be heavily suggested. Maybe if it was backed up by evidence, parents would sort of look into it a bit more and consider it a bit more. Obviously, at schools, I know people like to take their phones to schools and like play on them in lessons. Obviously, if that could be stopped, that would be great as well.
I suppose in theory it could be possible to regulate, but probably won't work. I feel like we might be too deep in.
So a bit of context, I guess, for this is just the fact that I don't know if you know about the Australian social media ban, but this is basically exactly what they've done in Australia since December. Under-16s are banned. Companies like Google and YouTube are being held accountable for enforcing this rather than parents and children. How do you see that being regulated in Australia? Do you think that the fact that they're trying it is a good experiment, or?
No, famously when you get companies who regulate themselves, it doesn't work. The banks couldn't regulate themselves, and neither can social media companies. You want to get the 10 biggest companies on the planet to just regulate themselves. They're like, yeah, trust me, bro, it's not going to work. It's a waste of time. So it won't work.
I think probably without phones at a young age, you'd be like, mainly me, I struggle a lot with being on my phone all the time and like scrolling through TikTok and Instagram. I don't think it would have been that bad if I'd like got a phone at 16 and got on the internet at 16, rather than like just scrolling away most of my childhood. Yeah, exactly. I reckon it would have helped my phone usage if I wasn't on it as much as I was as a kid. The mobile games, the Candy Crush addiction's pretty bad. But yeah, the Clash Royale, it's not good.